So you women out there that are watching this, he's got sexy factor. Right, Michelle?
Thank you.
Right, Osvaldo? Okay. Okay, so let me give you a little bit of background with regard to this rising actor. Rogelio is a bilingual actor working in film, television, theater, and voiceovers. He was born in Sonora, Mexico. He was raised in Yuma, Arizona, and he grew up in both cultures. He began acting at the age of 10 in his church in Yuma, and he continued his training in drama classes throughout high school and Chicano theater in college. Tell me a little bit more about the Chicano theater.
Chicano theater was at Arizona Western College in Yuma, and we were part of the first class when the director, the teacher, Homero Chavez, brought it together. And he said, look, this is what I'm trying to do. There's regular theater, but we want to do plays that, you know, have to do with Latino stories, like Los Vendidos, La Posada, and so forth, Luis Valdez. And I said, sure, why not? I've done, you know, theater all my life. Let's do it. So we started doing that. And we started in the union hall. What do they call it? The student union. They didn't allow us into the actual theater because we weren't considered a full theater department class, no say. But we performed there to a sold-out house.
Oh, wow.
And the next year, now we had access to the theater. So I did that for about 3 years when I was in college in Yuma.
With a bunch of Chicanos?
Bunch of Chicanos, Chicanas, Latinos, de todo, this big mix of people, you know, the costume department and the set wardrobe and so forth. So we got to work with a lot of different people. It was a lot of fun.
And Luis Valdez?
Luis Valdez was great. I love his work. And in Los Vendidos, I got to play the Mexican-American robot.
Okay.
So I'm not sure if you're familiar with that one, but my compadre Roy and I were both in that, and we go back and look at that and just laugh our butts off. It was so much fun playing that character.
Yeah.
And then understanding and getting to know who Luis Valdez was and how important he is.
Right.
I didn't know that at the time, and then, you know, with time I got to. Yeah, there you go. Yep. Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You also co-wrote and co-starred in the film El Patron, which received various awards at the New York Film and Music Festival. You appeared on the Fox TV show Legends and Lies, and recently guest starred in the hit TV series Run Coyote Run on Fox Latino. Several of your films can be seen at film festivals throughout the world, including the film Altar Valley at the Barcelona Film Festival in 2019. Now, that is the film screening that I attended recently with you, and I really liked Altar Valley because it told a story about what happens to women who are victims, where coyotes are bringing them in, and it was good. And you were the bad guy.
I was the bad guy. Yes, I was the bad guy.
How many days did it take you to shoot that?
If I remember correctly, that was 3 days. It's a short film, so it was an intense 3 days. We had a lot of rehearsal beforehand, though.
Okay.
So that helped. That helped. And yeah, the story is that of a pollero, which is a human trafficker, receives the people once they've crossed to the U.S. But in this case, something goes wrong, and his boss says, no, you have to go into Mexico and bring them out. So I have my partner assistant who is in debt to me, and he's illegal. So now we find ourselves in Mexico all of a sudden. And it is a harsh story. It really is. It's a sad story. It's a human story. But it shows you the harsh realities of what happens to a lot of people, especially women who cross the border and sometimes wind up in the sex slave industry or murdered or sexually assaulted. That happens a lot. So it's a very harsh film to watch. But I think it's almost like a warning or how would you say that? Just letting people know, hey, this is going to happen. This happens a lot. And you know, you might want to think twice before you cross that way, you know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. I was glad that you died because you're a bad person.
Spoiler alert. I didn't die. My character Matias dies.
I was like,
but
yes,
yeah, he gets what he deserves.
That's what you get.
Right.
In 2017, you volunteered as Master of Ceremonies for a benefit concert titled Tucson for Mexico to help those affected by the earthquake in Mexico City. And you had the pleasure of working with several renowned directors such as Alex Cox, David Valdez, Robin Russin, Tala Husseini, Derek Carlson, Pedro Perez, and Mark Hanna, among others. And Luis Valdez, you mentioned him. But so you've got sort of an aspect with regard to helping in causes such as what made you want to contribute to the earthquake?
You know, it's how they say it's giving back to the community. In this case, this was giving back to the community of my founding country, my home where I was born in Mexico. I'm happy to help in everywhere where help is needed. In this case, friends came to me and said, hey, we're doing this benefit concert to help those victims from the earthquake in Mexico City. And I had been in Mexico City just a year prior for the Fox Latino TV show. So I had spent over a week there, and I'd loved the place. I got lost there actually a couple of times, but it was great. So when they told me, hey, this is what's going on, this is what we're doing, and we need to master a ceremony, would you help? I said, absolutely.
Yeah.
With con todo corazón, absolutely. And there we
Yeah.
were, and we helped coordinate a little bit, and next thing we know, we're on stage. Santa Pachita, my good friends were there,
Oh, yeah.
playing among Diluvio, AZ, Oscar Lopez, quite a few artists, among others in Tucson. And we helped raise money to help those affected by that earthquake. And I was happy to do it, and I'm glad it worked out.
What did you learn at the church? That was kind of your foundation to what you're doing now.
Well, let's see. What did I learn at the church? I mean, my faith, of course. It's always been instilled by my parents growing up at the church. They were very active in the church.
What's your faith?
My faith, I'm Christian, I'm Catholic.
Okay.
And so, Didi approves, all right.
That's not Tom Cruise.
So, yeah, I was born in San Luis, Mexico, raised in Yuma, and my dad was very active. My parents are both active. So one Dia de la Virgen de Guadalupe, the 12th of December, they would do this big reenactment with the Aztec dancers and the feathers and the drumming and the whole 9 yards.
Yeah.
And my dad was one of the dancers. So they said, you know what, let's do something different this year. Let's bring in like a human sacrifice, and we'll lay him on the altar.
Right.
We'll do the mass, the whole 9 yards, and then by the end of the mass, it'll kind of symbolize the conversion of the Aztec, the paganism, to Christianity. So they thought, let's bring somebody in to do this. And I was there with my dad at rehearsal one day, and they said, well, this kid's not very big. He doesn't weigh much. How about this guy? And I was about 10, 11 years old, and they said, hey, mijo, you want to do this? Blah, blah. I said, what do I have to do? Nothing. We're going to dress you up like an Aztec boy. You're going to pretend like you're dead, and that's all you do. Simple enough. Why not? So, of course, my dad was there as well. So there we are. There, Sunday morning, the 12th of December. The drumming starts, and everyone's dressed with the feathers and the whole wardrobe for the Aztecs, and they're doing the dancing, and it's really, really impressive. And here they are, they're carrying me, and they said, okay, don't move, just pretend that you're dead. Okay, so I vamos. And they carry me into the altar, they lay me down, and the mass starts. And I'm thinking, all right, don't do anything. Don't breathe, don't move, don't flinch, nothing, just hold still, hold still. Half hour goes by, another 45 minutes, an hour goes by, I'm not moving. Yeah, I'm rocking this role, right? My first role.
They forgot
and
about you.
the mass is over, the drumming starts again, and all the Indians are dancing, and they pick me up from the altar, they bring me out, and they carry me, and they bring me out into the lobby, and they set me down, and they're high-fiving me left or right. Good job, mijo, you didn't move, you did excellent. I'd fallen asleep.
Oh my God!
I didn't move a muscle. I was sleeping the whole time. I didn't know, I was out. But that was my first role, the Aztec boy. And then since then, they said, hey, you know what? We have a play coming up of the boy Jesus lost in the temple, and so forth and so forth. So I kept doing that as I was growing. And of course, I never looked my age. So I was like, oh, God, I was in high school. And I was still playing the boy Jesus lost in the temple.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And, La Posadas and all that tradition.
Yeah.
So I loved it. It was great because I spent a lot of time there because my dad worked there, and we would go there on Sundays, of course, and I'd go with my parents on, church activities. So I would be rehearsing here, and my parents would be next door preparing La Fiesta, St. Francis or whatever it may be. So, yeah.
So just so you know, he began in church, but now he's this wicked man.
Yeah.
What do you like about now? Fast forward to present day. I mean, you play a good evil character.
Thank you.
I don't know.
I'll take it as a compliment. It's one of my niches that I've discovered. Actually, Sherry Robb, who I workshop with, recently helped me discover. she said, okay, what are you best at, you know? And I've auditioned for the soccer dad taking the kids Peter Piper pizza after the game. Never got those roles. Oh. Even though I am a dad, and I was a soccer coach for my daughter's team, and I took her to Peter Piper, but I never had that look. Yeah. So they said, let's figure out what your niche. Yeah, the hair, and I don't know, but yeah. So we figured out, okay, your niche is this, this, and this. So that's what I'm good at. Okay. But of course, I'm very interested in doing other things. I've played a teacher. I've played in Dark Night of the Soul. Mm-hmm. I play a man in the 1800s in Oklahoma, raising his family and so forth. So that's completely different from my. I've
seen you in Western photos. What Westerns have you participated in?
Well, Legends and Lies on Fox TV, that was a Western. Tombstone Rashomon, which is a new version of Tombstone. That was with British director Alex Cox, good friend of mine. That was another Western. And this one, Dark Night of the Soul, it takes place in the Western time, in the 1800s or so, in the homesteading period of America, but it's not necessarily a Western. There's no guns and shootouts and and draws. Okay. None of that. No, not that type of Western. This one's completely different. He's a family man. Actually, Ramon, who our director Derek Carlson was gracious enough to let me name the character after my grandfather, Ramon Carvajal, because the storyline of this film paralleled a lot of my grandfather's experience living in Mexico back in the 50s and 60s. Okay. So he allowed me to do that. So it's a great little story. It's very intense. It almost looks like a horror if you watch the trailer, but it's not. It's actually a story of a family, of love, of loss, and of acceptance, of hope.
Oh, those are good.
Yeah, I love those. Those are the ones that are you?
I'm a sap.
Those are the ones that are very close and dear to my heart. Yeah. Those that I can connect with something that, in this case, relates to my family's experience. Okay. Yeah.
Now, there's another film that you were part of, Bonaparte, and your character is Salazar, and essentially Salazar is head of a cartel who has a corrupt and deviant past that is connected to Mr. Adrian Bonaparte. And tell us a little bit about that character that you played, because I know you played a bad guy. Right. And you played with my friend JT.
JT Campos, yeah, my buddy who's on Queen of the South. Yeah. Yeah, we had some pretty intense scenes together as well. A great guy to work with. Very, very just.
Isn't he crazy? I
love it was the first time I got to work with him. I was like, oh my God, this guy he's just powerful, But
Shout out to JT Campos, real quick.
Saludos, JT, ¿cómo estás? A friend of mine, writer-director Eduardo Venegas, who approached me, a while back and said, hey, I have this character. I think you'd be great for it. Actually, it's funny. I was in Bisbee, and I found this really cool leather jacket that I've always wanted for the longest time, and I posted it on Instagram. And within hours, I get a message from Eduardo. He goes, hey, I haven't talked to you in a couple of years. I just saw your picture that you posted. That's exactly the way I envisioned this character, Salazar, for Bonaparte. Here's a script, check it out, let me know if you're interested, and so forth. And that's how it all started. Yeah, we had worked on something together years back. Reddington was the name of that film. And but years had passed by, and next thing you know, we're connected again. And you gave me the script, we talked about it, we started working on it, we started shooting a couple of scenes. Some of those scenes were actually shot here in Phoenix as well. Oh. Yeah, Bonaparte, somewhere in the downtown area. But it kept growing. The storyline kept growing, and he kept adding characters and so forth. And finally, he tells me sometime later, says, hey, I have this other scene. I want to bring in a new character and so forth and so forth. This actor, JT. And I said, sure, it'd be great. And sure enough, we got together with JT, did some scenes, and there it is. So Salazar is, as you said, he's the head of a cartel. And he is he's like a puppet master, if you will. And he has a lot of control over people. And Adrian Bonaparte is one of those, and he needs he actually needs his son to do something for Salazar. So he really puts him in a corner, cat and mouse kind of a thing, like, look, I'm just toying with you, buddy, but you don't have a choice. So you might as well play along,
And did you have any scenes with Rick Lobato?
Oh, yeah, Rick Lobato. Rick, how you doing, buddy? Yeah, Rick's great. Yeah, we have a scene actually where JT Campos and Rick Lobato and I were in a car driving. We're having one of those meetings in the backseat of a car, and Rick was there. Rick's awesome to work with. He's great as well. Actually, some of his scenes were the ones that were shot here in Tucson.
Nice.
Yeah,
I know
Rick's awesome.
Rick's brother is a writer for Queen of the South. So
Right. Yeah. He's the showrunner.
They got another season. So
Yeah. Shout out to those guys. Awesome. Congrats. Que bueno. Toda madre.
we're gonna go on a quick break, and we'll come back on, and we're gonna ask Rogelio what his dreams and aspirations, and we'll see you in a few. What's your daughter's name?
Were you out here all night? What happened?
I saw it. Out in the darkness. I took your sister.
What was it?
It looked like a demon.
Dad. She's dead. Don't you remember? Where are you going?
Talk to your mother.
Can I come?
No. I need to talk to her. Alone.
When will you be back?
Soon.
All right, we're back. Thank you for listening to the Tequila Onda radio show, and my special guest is rising actor Rogelio Camarillo, and we just finished watching a clip. Tell us about the trailer we just...
Yeah, absolutely. That was a clip from the film called Dark Night of the Soul, written and directed by Derek Carlson. We shot that earlier this year, actually, in Gammons Gulch, southeast Arizona, and also up in Sedona? Yeah, Sedona,
Oh, wow.
northern Arizona as well. This is the story of a family man, Ramon, in the 1800s in Oklahoma, and he has his wife, his son, and during labor, his wife loses the child, but he can't accept that. So he goes a little, insane. He just goes crazy over it, and he starts imagining that a demon stole his baby in the night. So he has to deal with that. He has to deal with it in his own terms. And this is the film that I was telling you about. That is, it looks like a horror, but it's not. It's actually about family, about love, about loss, about acceptance. It's really a family story. And I was fortunate enough to be able to name the character after my grandfather, because he went to something very similar, losing, my God, he lost 4 children at birth.
Whoa.
Yeah, back at the ranchos in San Luis, Mexico, wasn't a whole lot of medical attention.
Whoa.
So they actually lost 4. So I did a lot of research, and I based this character on his experiences. So this is one of those that I really just dug in deep, very deep. Spoke with my mom, my aunts, uncles, anybody who had anything that could tell me about my grandfather's experience. And I just took all that.
What did they say about your grandfather?
Oh, wow. Well, he was a good, hardworking man, that's for sure. And I'm very, very lucky to have him in my life when I did. I learned a lot from him. He and my grandmother, Carmen, they had 17 children.
Wow.
Yeah, they were very busy.
Somebody had to work the farms.
Right, exactly. That's what it was. Exactamente. Big ranches don't work themselves. And but that's where they're from Sinaloa, actually. So the first 4 children died at childbirth. And the 4th one was Esteban. And when he died because the hospital wouldn't allow them to keep the baby there because they didn't have the money. They were very poor. They're very humble, hardworking people, but they're humble. And the doctor said, you can't stay here any longer. So they were basically kicked out of the hospital. Baby was about 3 days old. They stopped at the church there in San Luis where I was actually baptized, and they baptized him. And they took him home to the rancho, and they tried to keep him warm, but it's winter. You know, the houses were not very well insulated. So the next morning he passed away.
Yeah.
So again, due to the poverty, my abuelo, que está en el cielo, Ramon, he had to walk back to the town of San Luis alone with a little makeshift coffin that he built out of scraps of wood that he found, and put his little boy in there. He walked to the cemetery and had to wait until the sun went down where nobody can see him sneaking in, because again, he had no money to pay for a plot.
Wow.
So on his own, during sundown, there he was with his bare hands digging a hole to bury my tío, his son Esteban.
Wow.
So it was very, very powerful, all those stories that I found out, everything that he went through. I couldn't even imagine
Yeah.
what that must be like. Imagine, you know. And
yeah.
so I took all that, and moments before we did that scene where my character approaches his wife's grave, I envisioned all that. I took it all in. You know, that's part of the preparation. Who am I? Where am I? What am I doing? What am I trying to do? I was no longer Rogelio. I was now Ramon. Where am I? I'm now in San Luis, Mexico. Even though I was supposed to be in Oklahoma in the 1800s,
Yeah.
I imagined that I am my grandfather. And I actually prayed for him. I said, look, I need you now. I need you to come down and be with me here spiritually. And as the makeup artist was doing my makeup and so forth, I'm looking out the window and I can see the clouds. And I was just asking him, Tío, abuelo, I need you now. I need you to really inspire me. I really want to give life to this character, with what you went through. And then I thought, you know what? I've never spoken or invoked the spirit of my tío, Esteban, the one who passed away. So I'm talking to them now while the makeup artist is doing her thing. And all of a sudden I see this cloud start to just kind of go like this. I was like, oh God, okay, what is that? It's a good sign. So I felt good. And I walked out to the set. We did the scene. And I just stayed in character no matter what was happening, no matter the thorns that were grabbing my legs. And as I approached the gravesite to do the scene, as I take off my hat, I didn't imagine there was a hat in my hat. I now imagine that was the little coffin made of wood with my tío Esteban in it and me being my actual grandfather, kneeling down to bury him.
Yeah.
And the scene went great. Days later, the makeup artist had taken some pictures behind the scene during that moment, and it turns out that there was this cross of light on my chest that appeared in the pictures. It's not in the film. You don't see it in the movie.
Well, where are the pictures?
But they're somewhere on my Facebook timeline.
I'm going to have to go stalk you now. And
Yeah, feel free to stalk me. It's been about, February or so. But, we were looking at this. I'm like, wait a minute, why were you wearing a cross? Like, no, I wasn't wearing anything. And then when you zoom in, you can see that it's a light, and it's just right there.
Wow.
It was beautiful. So I know that was my abuelo that was with me. It was great. So, Dark Night of the Soul is what the film is called, and I'm very proud of it.
I saw that trailer a couple of times, and I thought that was one of the most professional. The shots were good, and you kind of look like you're like losing it. I didn't even have to really know about the story that you just told, but you look like kind of like that Einstein crazed look a little bit, and,
Right.
And it did kind of have a horror feel to it,
Right.
because you were kind of looking off about talking about this demon. So
Yeah, that was just after the night where he's running through the forest chasing this demon who he thinks has stole his baby. So he hasn't slept all night, and he's trying to comprehend what exactly happened and what could he possibly do. You feel so powerless. But yeah, for that role, I found a piece of bark. No, a piece of the cabinet falling apart, like a little plank of wood. And I was just holding on to that as the camera was setting up. And shout out to the team. Those guys did amazing. Everyone, our DP, Josh, Mark, Nate, all the lighting guys, they did an incredible job. Everyone on the team did so well. And that helped to really bring that. It's a team effort, to be honest with you. Filmmaking, it's not about one guy's vision and se acabó. No, I mean, we're like a canvas when you're painting, if you will.
yeah.
You need everything, the canvas, the paints, the brushes,
Who did the
water.
music? They did a good job.
The
with
music,
background
I don't
music.
remember his name, but the director, Derek Carlson, he did hire a composer specifically for
Perfect.
that. Right. I mean, oh God, the music is so important. The score, it helps build the
Right.
emotion, you know, it's
Yeah.
so important. That's one of the things that inspires me, is music.
Yeah.
When I write, when I envision scenes and so forth, it's because of music.
Yeah.
I'm listening to something that suddenly there it is. I'm like, oh wow, I envisioned this, and I write it down.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, yeah.
Good. Where do you want to go in life? Well, first of all, before we go that direction, shout out to Changuita, your 14-year-old daughter.
Changuita, that is my daughter. I love you, mija. She is in Tucson, and she just started high school. She's a big freshman now.
Wow.
Yeah, she's in the marching band and doing her thing, and
Oh.
she loves music, and she actually helps me write sometimes.
Oh.
She'll come up with
wow.
ideas, so hola, mija, I love you.
And what are your aspirations?
I have
You want
lots.
to leave Arizona?
I don't want to leave Arizona, but for my career, I need to leave Arizona. Yes, I'll be heading to Los Angeles early next year to continue my career, to continue expanding on my acting
Good.
career. Arizona's been great. Again, I grew up in Yuma, been in Tucson. I was in Tucson for about 22 years. Moved to Phoenix or Chandler recently, and I'm preparing for that big move to
Good.
Los Angeles. I started training with the new acting coach, Billy Huffsey.
Okay.
Hey Billy, how you doing, buddy? He's great. This guy is very, very knowledgeable and experienced. So it's part of my preparation process.
Mhm.
But yes, I will be heading to Los Angeles early next year,
Okay.
God willing.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Do you have anything that you would like to say to people that are listening? Anything inspiring that you want to share?
Absolutely. For all those in particular, to all those actors, actresses, any artist who is out there and has a dream of pursuing your art, your passion, just do it. Don't give up. It's going to be hard. You're going to have a lot of obstacles, and you're going to have some haters even now and then. But you know what? You have to do what's best for you. Don't give up. Keep going. Keep going.
All right. Next week we are going to have another actor,
Oh.
and he's a veterano in the entertainment industry, and he played in one of my favorite movies, Sicario, the first movie. And shout out to Santa Pachita, who is going to be raising some funds for Feed the Children, October the 12th in Tucson. So if you're in Tucson and if you're listening, a lot of our audience is in the Southwest. If you're in Tucson, please contribute to that Feed the Children cause. And thank you for listening to the Tequila Onda radio show. I'm Didi Garcia Blaze, your host, and Rogelio Camarillo. I hope to see you in several more television shows and movies, especially movies. But just to wrap it up, you play a really good crazy man, a really good bad guy, and hopefully you'll play some good guys.
I'm going to play a bullfighter pretty soon.
Oh, a bullfighter!
A matador de toros,
wait.
yes.
Oh no, you're gonna kill the bulls though.
Well, yeah, so bullfighters do, but in this case, the story takes place moments before a bullfight. So it's everything that happens behind the scenes. This is through Save the Airwaves Productions, Parker Richardson and Pedro Perez. And it's the working title is Toro de Oro, which is Golden Bull.
Yeah.
But this is a story of him behind the scenes, his family life, everything that happens with his wife, his children, and so forth, leading up, and the conflicts that the audience or the fans don't see. All they see is the glamour and the sword and the, the cape and so forth, but they don't see what's happening in his mind and what's deep in his heart, moments leading up to that when you're facing death, with the bull. But don't worry, no bulls will be harmed in the film.
Yeah, no animals will be harmed.
No.
And what was I going to say about that film? Yeah, no animals harmed.
No animals will be harmed.
Yeah, okay, all right.
Yeah, so
That's
look
good.
out for that.
Oh, who's the writer? Who's the writer of that?
Yeah.
Sounds really interesting.
Yeah, that's Pedro Perez, who was also the writer of Ultra Valley, one of the co-writers of Ultra Valley.
Perfect.
Yeah, and the writer of another film that I was in recently called Paradise Terrace
Okay.
as well. So we'll be working with him closely soon to to make
So
that happen.
he wrote the Alter Valley, so this should be really good.
Yeah, he co-wrote that along with Tala Tusaheni, who is the director. And yeah, those guys are amazing to work with, very professional and very just artistic. The things they come up with, I'm like, wow, this is wonderful. Let's do it.
All
I
right.
love it. I love it.
Thank you so much, and I
No,
hope
thank
to
you.
have you back again.
Sure, absolutely.
Keep us posted. And
Would love it.
thank you. Osvaldo says hello and bye, and I'm going to say goodbye as well. Thank you for listening.